What's up, game players? How are you guys doing? I'd like to welcome you guys to the first. Now, this is the very first time this has ever happened on the podcast, but this is a part 2 interview. And I'm joined, of course, by Mr. Tramell. What's going on, brother? How you feeling this morning?
I'm good. Ready to get this information out there, let people know, all about this game that we're working on, Lawbreakers.
Definitely. So let's go ahead and get into it, brother. Now, the first question I wanted to ask you, how did you guys actually come up with the idea of Lawbreakers? Because after playing it, it looks like you guys really took a lot of time and care as to what it was that you guys were actually trying to pinpoint and do in the game. So what exactly made you guys come up with the idea?
Well, this all goes back to Cliff leaving Epic and, retiring and then, having a bunch of spare time to think about a bunch of things, number of games that he wanted to make. And this was one of the games that he wanted to bring to the forefront. And, he had this, the kind of basic bones of the idea. He pitched it to everybody, before we all got hired, and, it sounded interesting to everybody who came on board. So, we kind of ran with that, took his idea and made it into what the game is today.
That's excellent. Now, the next thing I wanted to ask you, Tramell, is about the different character classes. I know you guys have several of those. Could you tell the listeners out there a little about the different character classes that you guys have?
So one thing I want to make it perfectly clear, we've got 18 different characters, but we have, those are basically split down the middle with the classes. Okay. So on each side, you got a law side and you got a breaker side, which, good versus evil, cops and robbers, basic premise. On each side of those, there's 2 characters per class that represent that one particular class. So we've got, a number of different classes where you have your kind of basic soldier class, which is the enforcer. Mm-hmm. And each one of these characters has like a backstory that we'll be exploring as we continue to develop the game and in the live process. So then we got, the Vanguard, which is, you're flying like a flying class that has a minigun, and those are represented by 2 different characters, which is Tosca 9 and Maverick. And then we've got the Titan class, which is represented by Kronos and Bombshell, with basic, kind of your almost is somewhere close to a tanking class, but we also got the Juggernaut, which is basically the tank. Which, is represented by Nash and Aegis. They're giant robots that are actually, either on Lawbreaker side. But the Kronos and Bombshell, kind of heavy ordnance, rocket launchers, brute strength, they have a special ability that allows you to shoot like electricity through your hands and stuff. So, we've got a wide variety of characters. It's all about mobility. The game is, fast paced. We wanted to have like something that was challenging and skill based. So it's not like, the kiddie pool when you jump in there. Yeah. You actually got to have some skills to survive. One of the more challenging classes that I think, is a lot more fun to watch is the assassin class. You get to swing around the map using, grappling hook type, devices. And then you use your swords to also slice people down. And she's really fast. Cool. She's got like dodges. Yeah. So you can see some really fun replays when you get somebody playing the assassin very well. And each one of those, that class is represented by, Kitsune and Hellion, which are, one of the smaller classes in the game. But they're super quick and super agile, and you can get around the map really quick. So we've got a couple, assassin players at work, and one guy, Ned, he's a beast. He just destroys everybody. And, you see Ned coming, you better run or just give it up because he'll slice you down. So, I mean, I could go on forever with the list of classes. You guys got to get out there and play it. It's free beta right now, open beta, so people can get in there and play the game and experience it. But yeah, we're continuing to making new classes as well. So, we got a couple in the hopper right now that we're working on, and we're looking to deliver those pretty soon.
Definitely. Yeah, I tell you, the one thing last night as I was playing the game, I had I don't know what it was. It was this one part on the map where it actually takes you up in the air and you're airborne. And I mean, good grief, people were going so fast around in circles and I'm trying to shoot at them and they're just killing the heck out of me. Such a fast-paced experience. What was that purposely done as far as the gravity goes? Because that's actually very interesting in itself, Tramell. With different parts of the map, I noticed that it would, I guess be zero gravity and you would fly up in the air and, trying to shoot each other. I mean, really cool element, by the way. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, that was one of the key features of the pitch that Cliff gave us all. He wanted this to have the ability to affect gravity in some way or have abilities on characters that affect gravity some way and then have pockets of 0G within the map, which we basically have this kind of orchestrated dance of shooting and killing in the center sphere. So, that was like one of the key functions of every map needed to have like something like that in the map that has some kind of gravity aspect to it. So that people can traverse or fight within it or use it to their advantage. Like you can, like if you didn't even notice, a lot of people probably don't even know this, but like the propulsion of your weapons can actually push you through anti-gravity. So if you've got a rocket launcher, you can blind fire, shoot behind you, and that'll propel you even faster through space. So we wanted to give people options as far as like how they wanted to traverse. And in addition to like making it more of a sandbox so that you can come up with your own way of making it through the map and then, basically utilizing, the things that we put in the map to create like your own way around. And we've seen people, use like one of the solo classes, which is Titan, use the rocket jump to the advantage of so that they can get across the map in a much faster pace than some of the faster characters out there. So, we're just giving people the tools and watching how it unfolds. And I think that 0G Pocket in the middle has a lot of possibilities for people to get some mobility and some good highlights and things like that.
Yeah, I agree. It was also another thing that I liked that you guys put in the game, where at first I was slightly frustrated until I figured it out. As I'm getting shot, my energy level is going down and down, so I'm trying to run away, thinking, okay, it's going to be a regen. I'm a regen, everything's going to be good. And I mean, it happened a few times. I got shot down, but then I noticed as I ran around the map, it's actually a regen station where you go there and it refills you up. I thought that was actually another great element. I've never seen that in a first-person shooter online, as it were. So that actually gives you more of a chance, more of a fighting chance to, re-heal yourself, get back out in the fight, and maybe even the score with someone. Was that well, of course it had to be a conscious decision, but how important was that for you guys to actually put that into the game as another element?
That decision was made based on like, we wanted to have that tension as far as like, if you're pressing a point and you really want to, stay in the fight, you got an option. You can either stay on the point and risk getting killed, or you can fall back, get some health, and then come back and continue to fight. So we wanted that tension, and we wanted to have the players actually mentally choose to either stay or go. And having those health stations at the ready, knowing that, hey, I'm almost there. I think I can hold it out. Or if I fall back and I go back to the health station, then what? Then if I come back, is the point taken? Like you have to have that kind of mental, combat going in your mind when you're actually thinking about like whether or not you should do some things. And then once we had that, we figured out that wasn't quite enough. We also placed, health vials throughout the map so that you can get a little bit of health. They're not as powerful as the health stations themselves.
Right.
So it's just enough to give you a little reprieve. So, but still they're in set spots. So they're not going to be like, like you get a health pack in other games and you just inject yourself with some stuff and now you're healthy again. We didn't want to do that. We wanted you to actually have to make that choice whether you continue to press or you fall back, and then that kind of like ebbs and flows based on whatever teamwork or team dynamic that you're actually pushing. And now that we've got the battle medic, now you can say, all right, well, we can continue to press this point if someone is playing the battle medic class in the game. So now you're trying to round out your options when you're talking about team play. So you can press on points and you can do a lot of really good things if you got a battle medic in play and that person's actually playing the battle medic properly. So yeah, we're just basically giving the options to the players, but we also want to create that tension.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's just a great balance of like you said, both sides. You can either stay in it. I got a little bit more health left, or I got to retreat, man. I think it actually puts everybody at least because of course it's always going to be players that are more skilled than other players. That's just the way it is. But at least you do feel like, man, at least I got a fighting chance. If he gets the best of me and I can escape with my virtual life, get to this health station and be able to replenish, maybe I can catch him while his health is down and knock him off.
Yeah.
Definitely. So I thought that was great. Thought it was great. You know what? I wanted to also ask you this too, Tramell. It just came to my mind. I just thought about it. What are some of the different, how can I put this? You know how you have capture the flag or, protect the mountain, different elements they have in the game online. What are some of the other,
different modes that we have?
Yeah, thank you, Tramell.
Yeah,
yes, sir.
game modes.
Yes, sir. Game modes. Thank you.
Yeah, we've got one that's similar to capture the flag. It's called Blitzball. It's basically akin to like soccer or something like that. So you go pick up the ball in the middle and you try to score in the enemy's goal, basically. So and then the ball itself actually has a timer on it, so you can't just pick up the ball and run around like a doofus and just troll the game. It'll explode if you continue to hold it.
Oh man.
So and then of course I think it's set to a number of scores. I forget which one it is, but and you can actually create a custom game to set the number of scores.
Nice.
But you can so basically it's a basic game of soccer, which is Blitzball right now. And then we got the like a area capture type thing where it's like A, B, and C. You hold those points, and then you gain points by holding those points. And then there's like an intermission in the middle of that. So that's another mode. And then we've got a bunch of other modes that we've been working on as well.
Okay.
That, basically we're trying to, mix up the games so that people, don't get bored. They want to, we don't have like a team deathmatch.
Right.
I don't know if that's something that they're exploring or not.
Okay.
But we're definitely, working on different modes every time. And different, different configurations of the modes that we currently have.
Gotcha. That's fair enough. Also, were there any, during the production and getting everything together and, having the game play the way that it plays, were there actually like any influences that may have inspired the gameplay? Because it kind of felt like, and this is not a bad thing, I thought it was great. It kind of felt to me like a little bit of Unreal Tournament, some Unreal Tournament elements were kind of in there. So I was just curious to know were there any, just some influences there. that the team
I
looked
mean,
at?
the company is started by the guy that invented that game. So I'm sure there's something in there that came from that realm.
Right.
Because it's just it's in his DNA. So
yeah, of course.
I would be surprised if he didn't add, just the amount of, the experience that he's had with shooters, it's got to spill over. There's no way that if it was intentional or unintentional, I think it would spill over regardless, because that's just kind of who he is.
Definitely. I mean, Unreal Tournament, it has a huge lineage. I mean, good grief, that game is, good gosh, over 20 years old now, and people still ask about it. People are, they still ask about
it's
it.
Still a thing.
It is. It really is. It is, especially on the PC side. I guess the next question I wanted to ask you, Tramell, is, will the map sizes stay around the same size, or will they vary depending on what map you're playing?
It depends. I mean, a lot of this stuff is going to be driven by consumer requests, because obviously we're consumer based. We need people playing the game in order for it to work. So we want to, try to serve as many people as we possibly can. And if people are clamoring for bigger maps and longer play times and play sessions and things like that, or more objectives and things like that, then that's what we're going to be working on. We've heard some of the feedback during the beta that, maps are probably too small, or certain maps are too small. I mean, we definitely want to have a variety for sure, smaller maps and bigger maps. I think the consumer is going to dictate a lot of that. I know that one of the designers, Hunter, Payron, he was actually, considering some changes to the current maps that we have based on, influencer, info and consumer info. So I think the next time around, I think he's going to be doing some experiments, and we'll probably be doing this stuff internally, to see what kind of reconfigurations we can do with some of the current maps and make them slightly bigger or whatever. That's definitely something that's on our radar right now.
Oh, definitely, for sure. Now, like I said, I have to say it again. I just have to reiterate this point. Now, the controls, listeners, I'm telling you, the controls on this game are buttery smooth. And I felt like just being able to run around the map. I love the fact, too, Tramell, that you guys put in there. I was looking for the regular run button. You hit the analog stick, you push it in, and you'll actually run. I thought it was a very interesting design choice that, when I hit the L1 button, I shot off, bam, running. And he is running at a blistering pace for a good 4 or 5 seconds. And I said, golly, no slowdowns, no hiccups. It feels like the game is running at 60 frames per second. Is that true, Tramell? Just so the listeners know.
Yeah, I believe you were playing on PlayStation 4, right?
Yes, I was.
Yeah, it's 60 frames on PlayStation 4 for sure, and I think it might be running fast on the PS4 Pro. And the PC is running even faster. So Ariane, who is the CEO of the company, was adamant about frame rate. Frame rate. And, there's a lot of bells and whistles on the art side that we wanted to put in, but they were sacrificed for the frame rate. Because ultimately the player's experience trumps, what things look like in some regard.
I agree with that.
Obviously we wanted to, present the best looking game we possibly could. But there was a lot of limitations that we had, on the art side to make sure that the game continued to run, as smooth as possible. We optimized the living daylights out of it. We made sure that every decision that we made was kind of based around frame rate.
Right.
Then we worked within those boxes. So, as long as we knew, the kind of confines that we needed, to be in, we could create within those confines. And I think we still found a good way to kind of balance the art versus the frame rate. But yeah, frame rate was always a consideration, like how fast the the game is running, how smooth it is, without like LOD popping and all these other hitches that could come into play. We wanted to make sure that the player's experience was, as smooth as possibly could.
Yeah, definitely. I think that we live in a moment in gaming where everybody is very concerned about the, as they should be, I think, because I am too, about the frame rate versus the not so much the quality of the game, but maybe the visuals, because I'm a firm believer that, gameplay to me is more important than graphics, because it could be a beautiful looking game. I mean, it could be stunning. And if the gameplay is not smooth and you got a whole lot of hiccups in the frame rate, it makes the game just that less impressive. So I'm glad you guys concentrated on the frame rate and making it 60 frames per second. I think that definitely will translate into a much smoother experience for any player out there that's going to play this game for sure.
Yeah, we hope so. We definitely hope so. But I mean, yeah, at the same time, we still gotta, make the game look as good as we possibly can. One of the things that we've always said is, art sells is the kind of your initial foray into the game. You don't know anything about the game. You know how it looks.
Mm-hmm.
But design is going to keep people playing the game for X amount of time. So that's got to be paramount.
Yeah, for sure. You're absolutely right. You do have to have, the game does have to look appealing. It definitely has to look appealing first. Then once people get into it, it's like, okay, what about the frame rate, then the gameplay? All of that stuff comes into play after the game looks appealing. And like I said, the game, it really looks great. It's a great looking game. I like the different weapons, what you guys are doing with the classes, different classes. I thought you guys did a great job. Exactly. I have to ask you this too. How long did it take for you guys to actually get the game from concept into actually a finished product?
So the company is officially, as of 2 days ago, is 3 years old. So it took us,
congratulations.
I would say it took us about a year
to
actually make the game. Yeah, because we went through some iterations of what the game was gonna be. The game has always been playable since the day I got there, and I've been here almost 3 years. It'll be 3 years in October.
Wow.
So it's been playable since then, but in this incarnation of what it is, I would say that's probably been about a year and a half. And that's just like, we went through some like tonal changes. We went through some like business model changes. We went through a bunch of different things like, what is the game? What's the heart of the game? Like, what is the game supposed to invoke when you play it? Like those types of things. And they were all kind of incremental, but they were significant enough for us to kind of rethink how we were doing certain things. And then once we got to the point where we kind of solidified everything and, we had everybody on the team had a really good idea of what the game is and what it could be, then I say that's when production actually started. And I would say that's probably been about a year and a half.
Wow. That's tremendous for a studio you guys' size to actually have that kind of turnaround time. You guys must have been at it. I mean, at it heavy and hard to have gotten into
we got a lot of content to produce in the last year. And, we had to get it done because like I was telling you in the first part, the pressure to produce this game at a high quality was extreme, and still there, like to this day, but not nearly as harsh as it was when we first started because, we're all coming from different places. Like most of these people have never worked together before, not in this group. We've got people that knew each other from different studios, some from Epic, some from Red Storm, some from Sony, some from Volition, things like that. But like as a group, never, like all this stuff is brand new. So you come into a bunch of fresh faces, and like the first year, we're just trying to figure out, we're still hiring people, you know, in the first year, and we're still trying to figure out, you know, what people are capable of, and, you know, what people are interested in working on, and where their passions lie. Like we're still trying to figure all that stuff out in the first year, and how to work together, which is even more important, like being able to communicate with each other. And, you know, these are things that we still work on. So yeah, that first year was more about like kind of building the studio, you know, fleshing out, what the game really is, you know, trying to figure out what our deadlines are and so on and so forth. And then once we got all that stuff out of the way, we just hit the ground running.
Gotcha. Yeah, obviously. I mean, a year turnaround time. That's something else. Definitely. Yeah. I guess, Tramell, I would like to ask you this as well. On the map, you know, you have a various, you know, count of how many people can play at one time in, you know, different online shooters. How many players, can play at a time in Lawbreakers?
So you got 5 characters on each side, so it's total 10 at a time. So you get to pick, your teammates get to pick what kind of the makeup of the team that you go up against, and you can change in between after you die. So you can change anytime the type of class that you want. So yeah, 10 max.
Okay, that sounds good. That's fine. Sometimes for me, like I said, I'm terrible online, so when you get into 15 versus 15 and, you know, those kind of numbers, like on Battlefront, man, I can't do it, brother. I am dead in the water. So for me, personally, 5v5, that's a good fit for me. I don't know about anyone else out there. I'm not trying to speak for everyone, but that works for me. That's less intimidating for me. So I think that's great.
It's good to be able to keep an eye on the other enemy team, and you know, like you know, coming from a game like PlanetSide, where people can, you know, you could be up against 100 people and people are everywhere. It gets kind of daunting.
Heck yeah, for me, and I mean my reflexes, brother, they you know, they're not as fast as they used to be. So as I'm trying to shoot this person, 3 more people coming out the woodwork, a 6th person has come down and flanked me. It's too much. It's way too much. So 5v5 listeners, definitely. I wanted to ask you also, Tramell, about story elements. Now, of course, we know it's a shooter, it's an online shooter, and that's fantastic. Not everybody really cares about, you know, the story. Most people want to get in, have a great time, and enjoy themselves. But for certain players out there that may be curious, will there be any story elements to the game or any background info on any of the characters?
Yeah, we put out a number of videos already that kind of explain like who the characters are. So we got a new character class that will only be in launch. You can't play them right now in beta. The Harrier class, which is you know, Sunshine and Baron. And then there's a video out there that tells you who they are and where they came from. It gives you a little bit of background on their personality, and we've got a number of those out there that you can look at and, you know, get some information on. And then what we do is in like various points in the game, like various places, like, you know, there's certain spots in the map or like a sign in the map where you can read certain things where that will give you some kind of information, basic information about a certain aspect of a character or the world itself. Some of the skins that we've created are kind of, they reinforce who that character is. So we've got like little tidbits of information, you know, sprinkled throughout the game. If you're really paying attention, you can get a bunch of information about the characters through there. But also we'll be, you know, exploring more avenues of how to explain, you know, how the world came about, you know, the history, the characters within it, et cetera, et cetera. In the pre-order, I mean, in the collector's edition, there is a journal that has a lot of backstory in it, and it kind of explains how we got to this point. So you can also get the pre-order from Limited Run Games. I mean, the collector's edition from Limited Run Games. And it has a journal in there that allows you to kind of like get a little bit of information about one of the characters in the game. And it breaks it down, like it tells you like his experience as he's going through, the timeline, and, you know, kind of gives you a little bit of information about him and some information about other people that are, other characters that are in the game, as well as the world in general. So we'll definitely continue to do that and add more lore as we go and inform people, about the characters as time goes on. And like I was saying in part one, you know, multiplayer games like this, you know, specifically for Lawbreakers, is more like a TV show.
Right.
You know, so you're going to get more more information every episode you play, you know, and as time goes on, you know, as you get to season 4 or 5, you're going to know more about like the characters that we started with. And then as we start to add more characters, you're going to be getting a little bit of information along the way as those new characters come online.
Gotcha. Speaking of new characters, I would be remiss if I didn't ask you this, Tramell. What can gamers look out for when it comes to DLC for Lawbreakers?
Okay, so we're working on a number of things that we haven't announced yet, so I can't speak in specifics.
Okay.
But like I was saying a few minutes ago, we've got some new maps that will be showcased just for launch, not in this beta. And we've got the Harrier class that's not being played right now. You can learn more about them online on the Lawbreaker site and on our YouTube channel. But those will be specifically for launch, and on August 8th, you'll be able to play those and play the new map. Then on top of that, we'll be continuing to update the game. At what pace, we don't really know yet. Because that's all kind of depending on how we need to adjust to player feedback and so on and so forth. But we will definitely have like a scheduled release, kind of, cadence. And we've already got like some characters in the works. We've got some in testing already, that we're testing internally. We're working on some new roles, for the players, and working on new maps at the same time. So, and new skins for weapons and characters. So we've got a bunch of stuff in the hopper, kind of waiting to be released. So, you know, if anybody's concerned about us, you know, maintaining this game, they shouldn't be worried about it at all, because we were already kind of ahead of the curve on that.
Gotcha. All right. Well, I guess, also wanted to know this as well. Now, I don't know if this is in the game, Tramell, so I gotta ask you, brother, you know, while people are playing the game, are there any perks that players may be awarded with? You know, in Call of Duty, you can prestige and, you know, do all of that cool stuff. Are there any elements to the game where people will be able to get certain perks as they make progress in Lawbreakers?
Nothing to the point where it actually alters like your weapon stats or anything like that.
Okay.
You know, things that we have are more kind of a cosmetic, adjustment. So you can get, like, as you play and you unlock stash boxes, you can get different looks. And then each one of those looks has like, you know, each one of the character classes has a look that goes all the way up to what we call boss tier, which is the highest level of look. And those are super rare. So you can collect those, by, you know, playing in the game, getting in-game, currency and actually purchasing those, or actually be granted those via stash box and so on and so forth. So there's a bunch of things that you can get that are of value that no one else can get, but just by playing, because those drops are fairly random. So you could possibly, you know, play the game for hours and come away with like some really cool content that no one else has seen. So, but like I said, we're also working on, other portions of the game by, you know, kind of extending the player's experience. And then things like prestige are some things that we are also talking about, like, we just need to, that's part of our kind of like ongoing growing of the game, just trying to figure out like where people want to go with their experience, and then we can work on those internally.
Gotcha. Now this is just for my own for my own curiosity. This is actually the last question I had for you, Tramell, and you'll probably say, why is he asking this? But I just wanted to know what made you guys, because I thought this was so cool actually, what made you guys want to make the melee attack a kick? Now see, I'm going to get into why this is so sentimental to me, why this really stood out to me, because it was a game that, now Cliff, he had worked on this game years ago, and it's still one of my all-time favorite games to this day, was Bulletstorm. I mean, that game was amazing to me. So when the element of actually kicking an enemy into the air, the kill with skill mechanic of the game, it was just something that has stuck with me through and through since that game came out. So when I saw you guys actually have the kick mechanic, I almost cheered, man. I said, God dang, I have not seen this in a game since Bulletstorm. So I just have to know, Tramell, what made you guys want to use that as the melee attack?
Again, it all goes back to the guy who's running the show. I mean, we really doubled down on that to reinforce, like, when you kick somebody off the edge of the map, man, it's super satisfying.
It's amazing. Yes, it is.
And we reinforce that by, giving cosmetic options for you to have for your kicks. So when you get kicked off or kicked and killed, there's a boot print that comes up on your screen.
I got that, man. I got it a couple times last night.
Yeah.
Yes,
but those
indeed.
boot prints are customizable. So we have things in there that, more of a taunt. We have some levels that are just kind of basic, where it's just a print or a design. And then,
man,
you get to the higher levels where it's like, you suck, or, fuck your couch, or things like that, where it comes up on the screen on the boot print. So we wanted to really like drive that home. Like, it's more of a kind of, like a FU to anybody who got kicked off the map. So, I mean, I think it's a really fun aspect of it. People really get no pun intended, people get a kick out of it. And I think it adds like you said, it adds a different dimension to the game, because, it's not something that you normally see in the game. And, I think, Cliff has never been like one to kind of, follow the trend and be like the other people. He wanted to be slightly askew, and I think that was one of the holdovers, possibly from Bulletstorm. I can only assume, because he was involved with that this is how it ended up in the game, but this is something that he wanted from the get-go.
Man, that's awesome, man. I mean, definitely paying homage to a game that I think is so criminally underrated to this day. I don't know, out of curiosity, did you play Bulletstorm? Out of curiosity, Tramell.
I did play Bulletstorm.
Well, what did you think about it? I mean, your personal opinion. What did you think?
First, I didn't like it.
Oh, Trump.
And I think I'm going to be completely honest. I think I didn't like it because there was an issue with my Steam account for some strange reason.
Oh.
I still have I have it in my library on Steam, but I cannot play it.
Yeah, I heard.
It won't allow me to play it for some strange reason.
You're not the only person. You're not the only person that said that. That's been various people, at least 3 other people who have Steam accounts have told me that it just does not run on their PC. They can't get it up and running. I'm telling Tramell.
After that, I was pissed. So I was like,
it already put a sour taste in your mouth.
Yep.
Man, the game is so amazing. Hopefully, I don't know, Tramell, maybe you'll get it on one of the consoles or something. They just remade it a couple months ago. It was so great, man. I mean, the sniper rifle that they gave you, it actually had, you could guide the bullets. It was so cool. And when you shot somebody, it would go in slow motion. Just amazing. Cliff, I don't know how he came up with that whole concept, but God, dog, he was on one with that one. He was definitely on to something that I thought was just amazing. Good grief. But I have diverted way too much though, Tramell. But that was, are there, before we wrap up, Tramell, are there any final words that you would like to say to the listeners out there to get them to, give this game a chance? I think people should definitely give it a shot. I think the price point is right. Well, you go ahead, Tramell. Please, go ahead, brother.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I'm a little biased, but I can honestly say that this is a game that, we still get excited to play in the office, and that says a lot. If you've been, working on a product for 2.5+ years and you're still not tired of it, that says a lot. That's not just plain old dogged determination. That's like legitimate, enjoyment. You actually enjoy playing the game. And if we can enjoy playing the game after seeing it day in and day out in every state, in the crappiest state, in the broken state, in poor frame rate state, in every iteration that's known to man, and still enjoy playing the game, then that says a lot about the product, that the product is, a solid product and other people will enjoy it as well. So, if you're out there, you kind of on the fence about it for whatever reason, it's not like your typical first person shooter. It's a different game. If you want to compare it to other games, that's fine. You can go ahead and do that, but you'd be absolutely wrong once you get your hands on that. Once you get your hands on Lawbreakers, you're going to know that, hey, this is not like some other first person shooter that's got classes. It's not the same. It's not the same game that we're talking about. And on top of the fact that we're giving you a multiplayer game at a $29.99 price point. We're not trying to gouge your wallets like, some other companies may charge you $60 just for a multiplayer component. That's no different than anybody else's.
Right.
You base your basic run around, shoot a dude on a 2D plane, wash, rinse, repeat, like the same old stuff that you get all the time. This is not the same game. You're not going to be on that 2D plane like you are. You're going to be there, but then you're also going to be concerned about, somebody 10 feet above your head. You're also going to be concerned about that 360, field of view where you can actually get attacked from all angles, like in the small confine of, the maps that we currently have. So you're going to be fighting from all angles. It's not like your basic shooter where you can just run down a corridor and mow somebody down. These are skill-based games that we're dealing with here. So, if if you think you're some kind of hot shot and you're playing FPSs and you're tired of your plain old linear kind of run down a hallway, run through an open field, shoot a guy, snipe a guy from a distance. If you're tired of all of that, give Lawbreakers a shot. If you want some extra skins and some extra stuff, you get that Dead Zone Deluxe Edition. You're going to be looking, you're looking different. Like, you're not going to be looking like everybody else. You're going to get those extra 6 skins. You're going to get those weapon skins. Get that Dead Zone Deluxe Edition, still less than $40. Right there, $39.99. Great price point. Great game. Great experience. Something you've never experienced before. I don't know why you wouldn't want to pick this game up. It's super cheap, to the point where you could buy 2 of them and still have the same value, if not more, than some of these big boys that's out there charging you $60 for. So I think we've got something good on our hands. I believe that once people actually play it, there's a lot of haters out there that want to, just crap on us because they believe that we're a clone of somebody else. That's not even the case. Like, you got to give it a shot. You give it a shot, and I guarantee you'll be hooked for sure. So, you'll get out there and get it playing. If you actually listen to this before the beta's over with, get out there and play the beta. Beta's free this weekend. Get out there, play it, experience it, pre-order it if you like it. Hold your reservation if not, and order day 1, August 8th, 2017. The game's going to drop. It's going to be a big deal. So get in there and have some fun.
Hey, there you go. I don't think you could have said it any better, man. I think, shucks. With that being said, hey, we may as well just go ahead and close out the show with that one, brother. Go ahead and put the curtain down. Yes, indeed.
I'm gonna go ahead and fire up my PS4 and get some games in a few minutes here.
Oh, nice. Well, yeah, I definitely got to wrap it up, listeners. So, with that being said, definitely go out there, get Lawbreakers, give it a shot, definitely give it a chance. It's $30. That gets you in the door. Support these guys. They've worked very hard. And like he said, try it before you knock it first. Give it a shot. You just may find yourself enjoying it. So, with that being said, Tramell, once again, I want to thank you so much for being a special guest this week. Thank you so much for your time. It's been greatly appreciated, and your insight into Lawbreakers. And with that being said, I was your host, Keon Mitchell. And as always, if you guys want to chime in, you can do that two ways. You can either call in at 443-261-4607, or you can email the show at the Analog Circle Podcast at gmail.com. Mr. Tramell, last chance to say anything. Is there any last words?
Yeah, go play that game. Lawbreakers.
Definitely.
August 8th.
August 8th.
It's going down. Yeah. Get out there and get it. And if you really want, support the team, go ahead and get that Dead Zone Deluxe edition. And you won't be sorry. We're going to be working on this game for an extended period of time. And we're going to be continue to add more content, making sure that the people are happy, giving you exactly what you want. So get in there, have fun, and, get good.
Get good. There you go. Well, with that being said, listeners, I was your host, Keon Mitchell, accompanied by Mr. Tramell. And remember this, it is not about the consoles, it's about the games. So with that being said, you guys take care. Be safe out there. Bye-bye.